So the long tail cast on, also known as the Continental Cast-On and sometimes the double cast-on. This is a great cast-on. It creates a firm, neat and stretchy cast-on edge. So it basically has everything that you're looking for in a cast-on edge. In this particular piece that I made, this stocking stitch piece, after I did the cast-on, the first row that I did was the purl side. Then I went back for the knit side in order to create this stocking stitch piece. But how do we make this cast on? So you start with a slip knot. We've got two pieces of yarn here. We have to separate these first. So we've got the short piece here. This is the tail. This is the one that's cut off. Then we have the other yarn, that's the long one. That's the one that's going to the ball of yarn that you're using. So the tail goes over your thumb. The working yarn goes over your index finger. So this is the tail, the short piece, that goes over the thumb. The working yarn goes over the index finger, and then I use these fingers here to keep everything nice and tight in this little package. So let's make our first stitch. First of all, we need to bring the needle underneath this yarn on the thumb, underneath that one. Then we take the needle over the top of the yarn on the index finger, and then we pull that loop through the yarn on the thumb. And that's our first stitch. So first of all, we go under the yarn on the thumb, over the top of the yarn on the index finger, and pull that through. Under, over and through. So first we go under, then we're going to go over the top of this yarn, and then we pull it through this loop. So how much should you tighten the stitch once you have it on the needle? So at this stage, how much should you tighten that? We'll have a look here. If you can pull these stitches down and there's like a big gap here, your stitches are too loose. If you try and move your stitches on the needle and you can't move them, it's too tight. So you shouldn't really have much gap here at all, and your stitches should move fairly easily. All right, let's go again. Under, over, pull, under, over, through. So sometimes what I find, depending on the yarn that I'm using, is that the tail yarn here, the one that's over the thumb, can sometimes become a little bit untwisted. Can you see that there? It's a little bit untwisted. So about every 5 or 10 stitches, depending on the yarn I'm using, I'll let this tail yarn go and just give it a little bit of a twist again so it gets nice back to the shape that it's supposed to be. Let's do a couple more. This is also quite a quick cast on, so you know, this cast on really has everything going for it. And there you have it, the long tail cast on.